Okay, this time I wanted to show you guys this instrument, which is a circa 1925 Weissenborn Style 4 Hawaiian lap steel guitar. Hawaiian music gained worldwide popularity around the start of the 20th century, and the music was played primarily on a steel guitar and ukulele. And here in the United States, especially say the first couple decades there, 1910, 1920, 1930, the Hawaiian music was wildly popular. It's like, we're talking like rock and roll kind of popular. And there were just about everybody who built guitars also built Hawaiian style lap steel guitars. So there are plenty of vintage examples out there, Weissenborns and Konas and Knutsons and Iowas and Regals and Martins and several other brands as well. And Herman Weissenborn was a German. He was born in 1863, I believe, and he immigrated to New York around 1902. He was there for a few years and then moved out to Los Angeles around 1910, and he was building violins and repairing pianos and doing whatever he had to do to survive in the music business. So when the Hawaiian music craze hit, he started building lap steel guitars, probably around 1913. And by 1923, he had standardized his style numbers, his model numbers, and his construction details. Basically, at that point, he kind of settled on 4 styles, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And while all of the lap steels were primarily made of koa wood, the difference between 1, 2, and 3, 4 would be, how figured the koa is, and then also, how much binding and other decoration might be on the guitar itself. So this is a style 4, so it's kind of the top of the line. I mean, obviously, his designs were influenced by Chris Knutson, who was one of the very first builders of Hawaiian lap steel guitars in America. But people who play lap steel, they hold Weissenborn probably in the highest regard of all the others, all the builders, because of his beautiful, lightly built, soulful sounding instruments. And this again is a style 4, so it's his fanciest model. It has what's called rope binding, this stuff around the top and back and along the fretboard as well. It's a koa board and koa body, highly figured, koa bridge. One of the features of Weissenborn is the body tapers very, very gracefully. So you see it's thick here and then it tapers. It has a hollow neck. The body extends in the neck. It's a hollow neck, and then it tapers to, about an inch, maybe a little wider right here at the headstock. So it's a kind of very graceful instrument. Bracing patterns in the Weissenborns, it's a style of X bracing, but it's a lot different from like a Martin X brace guitar. When Martin did their Hawaiian guitars, the 28K, 18K, they were kind of used their standard scallop bracing, but the Weissenborn is just a little bit of a different variation on that. There's the big X brace and some tone bars, and then there's also a triangular plate that's glued to the underside of the top, right where the X brace meets, and then there's a thin strips of wood that are glued along the center stripe in a very narrow bridge plate. And that was kind of the typical bracing pattern for the early examples. A little bit later, the he used a very similar X bracing pattern, but the bridge plate became enlarged and was called a Christmas tree style bridge plate. And they're great too. I mean, both designs work really well for playing lap steel guitar. Usually when I do these videos, I describe the instruments and play them, but again, I just released a new album, and there's a tune called "A Song Still Clear" that's on the new album, and that song I used this Weissenborn style for the solos of that song. So I've also uploaded a music video at the same time I did this video, so you know, of that song. So if you want to hear this played, you can listen to that music video. Anyway, thanks for listening to this great little guitar.